Alright, so we're cruising down I-70 doing about 75 miles an hour in Mothership load mode. Let's talk about springs, specifically Icon's RXT Springs. And if you know anything about these guys, you know that they come with an extra spring so that you can have option 1, 2, or 3. Option 1 being for just a stock truck with nothing on it. Option 2 for being a truck that's got a little bit of weight to it. Maybe you've added sliders, you've added skid plates, maybe you have a cap on. Maybe you just run with a lot of junk in your trunk all the time. Then option 3 is for the heavy-duty Overland truck with a rooftop tent, steel rear bumpers, and steel front bumpers, etc., etc. I've got the RCI sliders, RCI skid plates. I have a cap on the back of my Taco. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to measure how much lift I lose as I add weight to the truck, and you guys can decide how you want to run yours. Everybody's seen the desert trucks, right? You've seen the trophy trucks, the stadium trucks. How soft do you think those springs are relative to the weight of the truck, right? How do you think those wheels move up and down? Because the spring is just strong enough to hold the truck up at the height you want it. Not much more than that. After that, it's all about your shocks, right? The springs are just there to hold your truck up. So in this video, we're going to talk about how much weight can I add to this in option 2 before I lose all my lift altogether. Then we're going to talk a little bit about ride quality. So here's setup number 1. This is daily driver. The spare tire is in the bed. There's a bucket back there, probably weighs, I don't know, 60 pounds. It's got air compressor, recovery gear, etc. I've got a jack. That stuff pretty much lives in the truck all the time. Okay, so this is setup number 1, daily driver. And right now, and I'm going to measure to the tailpipe, because the tailpipe, unless I hit something, should never move, right? So there we are. We are at 17¼ inches. Give or take, 17¼ And just to make this interesting, 17¼ and if I go to the top of the rock slider, right, that's about 20 inches. Just to give it a second point. So 20 inches to the top of the slider, 17 to the bottom of the tailpipe. I promise Marley is not holding up the truck, making it look taller. That's just the way it sits. Right, Mo? You don't cheat. I'm not a cheater. Don't call me a cheater. Okay. Alright, here we go. So now we've got the rooftop tent. We've got the awning on it. Got right, so now we are in Overlander mode, and it's all filled up in the back with camp kitchen, chuck box, cooler, clothes. The recovery gear is still in there, so everything that was in there is still in there. We just added a few extra boxes. 5 gallons of gas for the bike, whichever one ends up going, I'm not sure. And one of them, anyways. So this is Overlander mode. The only thing that's missing, the dogs are not in the car, and we are not in the car, but it should be pretty much how it's going to ride in Overlander mode. So that's an extra oh, I don't know, 300 pounds. So now we're at, what did I say to the bottom? Now we're at 16 and a half little wrap. So we lost 5/8 of an inch. It's sunk 5/8 of an inch, and the last time it was 20 to here. Right? That can't be right. Yeah. So now we're at 19, I don't know, and a quarter. So 3/4 of an inch. Alright, so there's Overlander mode. Right? It lost, let's call it 3/4 of an inch. Not quite an inch. It's sunk. Here we are in Mothership mode. Alright, this is our Overland vehicle, is going to be our base camp. So basically it's got everything it had before, and almost 300-pound motorcycle on the back. And let's see, we started off at 17, and now we're down to 15 and a half, so an inch and a half droop with the motorcycle on the back. And up here on our rock slider we're 19 inches, so an inch in front of the wheels and an inch and a half behind the wheels. Alright, of course the real question is, how does it ride? And I'll find out shortly, I believe. Right, I got the rooftop tent, the awning, I got a 300-pound motorcycle hanging off my back bumper. I did have to crank the compression down, so these Fox shocks are adjustable. Usually I cruise around in about in the middle, and it seems to soak up the bumps pretty good. With all this extra weight in the back, it was still okay. It was way better than stock, like light years better than stock. But once I cranked the back down to pretty stiff, it's not all the way down, there's a couple clicks I could go further. Got rid of all the bounce, everything. But now don't forget, you buy these springs, you buy the RXT Springs, and you get the 600-pound front spring because you want your suspension to articulate, not because you want to carry a tank on the top of your truck. You can do either or, but you can't do both. You know, my wife's work truck, I forget how much you can carry in the day. You can put this truck in her truck, and then her suspension gets soft. But until then, you know, it's a bucking bronco. Every bump goes right through you. On the other hand, this truck, my Tacoma, is sprung for articulation. So it's got a smooth ride. When it hits a bump, the wheels move and get out of the way and bounce around, and that's what it's supposed to do. So when you add this much weight to it, it's just going to get squishy. There's no way around it, other than by adding like another add-a-leaf, or airbags is a great way to go. I'm happy with the way it's driving now. I don't have a problem with it. You can definitely tell that the weight's there, and with the rooftop tent you can tell that there's something above you, but I'm not complaining about the ride whatsoever. It's smooth, and as you come over these little dips and bounces on I-70, it just soaks them up and keeps on going. You don't bounce forever. You know, I haven't bottomed out at all. So thumbs up. So the obvious question is, well, if it's kind of squishy when it's in Mothership mode, how does it ride the rest of the time? And I gotta tell you, in Overland mode, it drives really, really nice. Super, super smooth, in control all the time. Again, you can tell the weight is there. But even better when it's in just regular truck mode, daily driver mode, it's a beast. I mean, you can hit just about anything and it just sails over it. It soaks it up. I really need to find the perfect road to show you the articulation and how smooth the truck rides when the road gets really, really rough. But in the meantime, just know I'm out there ripping it up, and this suspension is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Worth every penny.